Today is September 6th, 2010, and this is Stanley Schwartz, Jeffrey Schwartz's father, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what the world was like when World War I started and World War II and how he got involved.
All right, the world was like, the United States was very prejudiced against Jewish people. The Roosevelt administration was not nice to us. And most fellas had to find a job that would take Jewish fellas, try to learn a trade, because they used to say, learning a trade so you can make a living. And, families got along on a lot less money than what people make a week they were earning a year. In 1935, I think the average wage was less than $500 a year. Now $500 a week you can't live on, the poverty level. Having said that, I think it started to turn around end of '39 when Hitler went into Poland. Then Britain started to want things for the country, so manufacturing started to pick up, and they were taking young people, and the aircraft plants opened up because Britain needed planes and stuff like that. And in 1941, a bunch of us guys who belonged to Club Prelude, 9 of us, we decided that sooner or later they're going to grab us, and we might as well enlist rather than let them pick what they want to put us in. We have a chance to do what we wanted. Well, we spread out all over. A couple of guys went to the Marines. They came home. And I was the only one that picked the Army Air Corps. And when we all got done, they asked me why. I says, I don't know, it just looked nice. So I walked in. I was, and I was 18 and a half. I think it was January 9th or 7th or something like that I enlisted. And I had 3 weeks to get ready, and then I went. My mother wasn't too happy. And then I went to, they sent us down to Miami Beach for about 8 weeks of it. Actually, I think we had infantry training. We didn't have Air Corps training. And then from there, they sent me to Scott Field to take the dot dash, Morse code and stuff like that, radio operator. And one day they took us out to shoot, to learn how to shoot a gun. And the Springfield 03, in which the sergeant told us, now when you don't pull the trigger, kind of just make it easy. Squeeze it. Well, nobody knew what easy meant, so everybody got knocked down from the gun because of the recoil. But the second time I shot it, I didn't have a problem with it. And then they took us, after that round of shooting, they took us to another place, and we were watching this guy shoot a disc out of something, and this GI was shooting at it. And the sergeant says, I want you fellas to shoot at that disc when it comes out. When it goes out, you try to shoot it. All right, so, I hit 9 out of 10. He came over to me and he said, you never shot a gun before? I said, nope. He said, you did rather well. He says, why don't you do it again? I hit 10 out of 10. He says, why don't you go to aerial gunnery after you get done? He said, okay. So when I graduated from the radio operator school, they right away came over to me, going down to aerial gunnery school in Tillery Field, Oklahoma, which I think was, as I recall, was near, that place had a lot of wind, and I'm trying to remember. It was near there. We didn't like the place, but I got through with that, and they wound me up in a squadron in Shreveport, Louisiana, Barksdale Field. And there I saw a spar which I had never seen before. Never had seen a spar. And then they had a tennis court, which I had never seen either. I've seen it on the street or in the schoolyard where they used to play on cement, but this they had regular, and a golf course. I said, well, the golf course. I said, what are you doing with that? So this little ball you try to hit. I never got to play it too much there, though. And then the squadron, and it was, they had, at first they called it, as I recall, I think it was the 29th Recoil Squadron, which nobody understood what it meant. And then they called us the 12th Tactical Air Combat Squadron. All right, well, that's what aerial gunners do. And one day, the first sergeant came over to me, and I was then a buck sergeant, and he said, Schwartz, how would you like to go to Lowry Field in Denver? What am I going to do there? He says, well, we need some flight engineers, and we're going to send 5 of you up there to learn how to be a flight engineer. I said, am I going to be going out of the outfit? He said, no, you're going to come back here. Okay, in 6 weeks they make a flight engineer out of you, which was really nothing. You learn more flying the airplane. And then we started to do some maneuvers with the airplane, and you'll find out what a B-25 can do. It's mainly for low-level bombing. That's what they use us in China for, not for 15,000 and all. We didn't do none of that. In fact, it yawned at about 10 or 12, it started to yaw, so we start to come down. Yawing means that it starts to, you think it's breaking apart, but it's not, but it starts to do things, so it starts to come down. The training was good, I thought. I mean, they put us through the hoop. And then we came here to Pasadena in November, and I called my mother, and I told her it's 81 degrees. She said, Stanley, it's freezing here. I said, Mom, it's 8. She didn't believe me. I said, read the papers. I called her back the next day. It is 81. Well, how come it's hot there? She says, how do I know? I didn't know. I said, it's California, I guess. We were at the Hotel Green, and then 1 block below Colorado. There about 9 days, I guess. And then we went to, I'm trying to remember this. I think it was Wilmington. I'm not sure. And then we got on a transport, and we went overseas. We went, I think we landed in Perth. From Perth, they flew us to, wound up in Johannesburg, I know that. And then on December 8th, we got in there about 6:30 in the morning, and as we just took off, I guess we were no more up to the ceiling, which was about 14,000, when the pilot informed us, who was a GI pilot, I mean, he was a lieutenant, he says, fellas, Pearl Harbor was bombed by the Japs, we're at war. Of course, we knew that anyway. And then I landed in India. India is not a good place for anyone to go to. I didn't enjoy my stay there. None of us really did. It was hot, muggy, filthy, dirty. You couldn't even, we weren't allowed to go in any of the restaurants almost. You can go, in Bombay there was, I can't remember the name of the hotel, you were allowed to go there, but it was so crowded you could never even get a drink if you wanted to, or sit down and get a sandwich. Then I went to New Delhi, and from there they shipped us to Karachi, which is now Pakistan. And then I went from Karachi back, we went back to Calcutta, which I didn't understand all of that, but from Calcutta we flew into Yunnan, I think, and then from there we flew into Kuala. That was the beginning.
Okay. Well, let's stop the tape right now, and then we'll start again in just a second. Again, it is September 2010.